Good morning, and welcome to Redeemer Lutheran Church. I'm Pastor Gary Lodeholt. In worship, we hear most of the stories of Elijah, but they come on different Sundays throughout the year, so it's easy to get them only in separate pieces. Last week and this week, we've been walking through the story of Elijah to put it all together. Now, in truth, there are some smaller events that we haven't covered, but we have hit the main ones, and today we come almost to the end of the story. Let me remind you that on Monday we talked about Elijah at Mount Horeb, where he encountered God in a sheer silence. From that moment, Elijah was sent to anoint some new kings and to name his successor. He did that, and his successor was a man named Elisha. When the time was right, Elijah said to Elisha, "Stay here, but the Lord has sent me to the next town." Elisha responded, "I will not leave you." So they journeyed on together. When they came to that next town, the prophets of that town told Elisha, "Do you know that the Lord will take your master away from you today?" And Elisha answered, "Yes, I know. Be silent." Well, that same thing happened 2 more times. Elijah would tell Elisha to stay behind, but he wouldn't, and then more people would tell Elisha that Elijah was about to be taken. Elisha continued to stay with Elijah. Finally, they went out to the Jordan River while a group of prophets followed along at a distance. Elijah took his mantle and struck the water, and the river parted, just like the Red Sea had done as God's people were led from slavery to the Promised Land. When they get to the other side, Elijah asks Elisha, "Tell me what I can do for you before I am taken away." Elijah asked, "Please let me inherit a double share of your spirit." As they continued to walk, a chariot of fire and horses of fire separated them, and Elijah ascended in a whirlwind into heaven. While this was happening, Elisha cried out, "Father, Father, the chariots of Israel and its horsemen." When he could no longer see Elijah, he tore his clothes in grief. Then he picked up Elijah's mantle from the ground and put it on his own shoulders. When he came to the Jordan again, he used the mantle to strike the water as Elijah had done, and once again the river parted for him to cross. When the prophets who had gone with them saw him, they said, "Look, the spirit of Elijah now rests on Elisha." And that's really the end of the story of Elijah. And perhaps some other time we will do the same thing with all the stories of Elisha. But before we leave today's story, I want to focus for a moment on that mantle. Perhaps it's not stretching things too far to invite you to see the stole your pastor wears as a symbol of that mantle, as a pointer to God's Spirit that should be evident in the pastor, and indeed in all of us. Thanks for watching, and remember to let this day belong to God.